Hi guys, welcome back to Chefs of Anime. I'm Vince.
I'm Taylor.
And we're here to make another fantastic recipe from the critically acclaimed Final Fantasy Cookbook. Woo! I'm not really too happy about our next dish that's coming up. I'm picky with vegetables. I'm more of, we'll say, a carnivore, but I'm kind of interested to see this new dish. It's called the Cennin, and it literally looks like slop with cheese on it. And I'm really excited about the cheese. And if this is your first time here at the channel, we do make all sorts of great, amazing food. We're amateur chefs. We really are completely new to this. So if you like what you see, you want to know some more about how to make these different recipes from anime, from video games, from anywhere else, go ahead and please press the subscribe button and see all the greatest content that you can right here on Chefs of Anime. But without further ado, let's go take a look at the recipe. What are we making today?
Today we're going to be doing the Cawl Cennin, and this time we have a foreword by our Kupo Magria. I'm going to go ahead and read through that. And we had a wonderful stopover in Costa del Sol. I got to sit by the beach and enjoy a nice glass of wine from Wineport across the river. I told Johan to relax a bit, Kupo, but he started talking to a Rogadin chef who was behind on her task for the lord of the town. He ended up helping with food preparation and wasted a perfectly good day over a stove. The Cawl Cennin he prepared was pretty tasty, but I didn't tell him I borrowed a bowl.
So are we ready to make this vegetarian, not vegetarian dish?
Yeah, let's get started.
Okay, all right, let's go.
Let's go. So we do have a little bit more prep to go, but I'm going to go over everything first, and then we will actually get to the prep phase. So first off, we have 2 tablespoons of butter, a tablespoon of olive oil. We have 2 leeks that we're going to chop, a half of a yellow onion, 1 celery stalk, 5 cloves of garlic, a teaspoon of salt, a half teaspoon of pepper, and a teaspoon of thyme, 1 russet potato that we're going to peel and cube, 3 cups of chicken stock, or 750 milliliters. I have 1 bay leaf that I'm going to add in, a 1/4 cup of heavy cream, or 60 milliliters, and the juice of 1 lemon. And we're going to add some crumbled goat cheese on top at the end because, well, Vince is excited about cheese, and it just makes it look extra good. Now we're going to get started on the final prep for our vegetables. We had everything set out before, but there's just a few things left that we have to do in order to make them ready to go in our recipe. I got lucky and had a couple of these where the paper peeled off really easily. Not always so lucky though. Alright, next up is going to be our half of a sweet onion. And since our recipe is going to be starting out with the onion, shallot, celery starting out in the pan together, I'm just going to lump them all together in the same bowl.
We would like to thank Walking Dog Music for providing copyright-free and DMCA-free lo-fi, chill-hop, and quiet future bass for content creators and streamers alike. For more information, check the description below for links to their music on all major platforms.
Alright, next up is going to be our russet potato that we're going to get peeled and cubed. I'm going to step away for a minute just to get that peeled. We'll come back and we'll get it cubed. Okay, here we are again, back with a peeled potato. And now we're back with our fully peeled potato. Came out wonderful. So we're going to need to cube this, and I found that the easiest way to do that is to cut yourself a surface where it's going to be able to lay flat. So just this little bit. We don't worry about missing that little bit. Toss it off to the side, throw it away. So first thing I'm going to do, since we're going to cube, is I'm going to try and make these all into roughly equal size parts, because things that are the same size cook the same times. You may see that I am throwing my chunks of potato into a small bowl of water. That is to keep them from browning or going bad on me, and also to wash off a little bit of that extra starch before we get to the cooking process. Now, we'll finish this up. All right, now with our potato complete and cubed and sat in water, you can already maybe see how it's gotten a little bit cloudy just from the starch that's starting to come off and wash off in the water. Next up is going to be our leeks, and we have a lot to talk about with these because the book just says, oh, slice the light green and white parts only. But there is a lot more process that goes into preparing leeks that, if you know, will make your life much, much nicer. They are an extraordinarily tasty vegetable that go great with a lot of things. The important thing about them, though, is that you have to rinse them very, very well, because as these grow their leaves and they keep going out, it'll just grow over whatever dirt's been laying inside there. So there could be dirt anywhere in any of these cores. So we're going to need to do our chops, and then we're going to set them in water and rinse them very well to make sure we get them as clean as possible. So our recipe states it only wants the white and the light green, so we're going to get those. You can kind of see how we're starting to get into where there's some layers of dirt. So I'm going to stop it here for this one and move on to our next. So what I'm doing right now is I'm actually just kind of generally rubbing things together, making sure that the different layers of the leek are loose and that I'm getting in between and kind of making a little bit of friction happen in there. Not too much because you don't want to tear these up, but enough so that if there's any dirt sticking to any parts, it's going to rub off. Depending on how much you care about having a little bit of grit in your meal can change how long you do this for. I'm probably going to do this for about 3 to 5 minutes or so, just to make sure I'm real thorough and well rinsed. And now that I've had these thoroughly rinsed, I'm going to set them aside with all of my other ingredients, and it's time to cook. Alright, now we are on to our cooking phase. So we're going to want our burner over medium-high heat. Nice and hot. Into that, now that we have it on the fire, we're going to add our 2 tablespoons of butter and our oil. I'm just going to let this melt down and get ready for those veggies. Now that our butter is mostly melted, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start adding in our veggies. This is our celery, onion, and shallot, as well as our leeks that we just soaked. And shake them out a little bit, just try and get as much excess water off as you possibly can. Toss that around to get everything incorporated. And you're going to let this mixture go for about 10 minutes until everything is nice and softened. Now, after 10 minutes, as you can see, everything is becoming soft and beautiful and mixing together nicely there. So we're going to get to our next step, which is going to be to add our aromatics and herbs. This is our thyme, salt, and pepper here. Add that in, as well as our garlic. Mix everything around so it's nice and incorporated. Now we're going to let this go an additional 5 minutes. And that is our 5 minutes with our garlic and our spices done. Next up, we're going to add in the potato chunks that we had cut earlier. And again, try and drip as much water off of these as you can before putting them in. Potatoes are in. Now, we have our 3 cups, or our 750 milliliters of chicken stock, which is the not so vegetarian part of this dish. Alright, now we're just going to mix everything together, and again, incorporate, make sure everything is looking good and happy with one another. And if you did want to make this into a vegetarian meal, you could very easily swap out the chicken stock for a vegetable stock, and that would make it much more if you are a lacto-ovo vegetarian, because there is going to be some heavy cream at the end. Now, we'll bring this up to a simmer, let it sit for about 20 minutes until the potatoes are softened, and then we'll move on to our next exciting step. All right, now that everything has been bubbling away in our pan for about 20 minutes, we're actually going to throw everything from in here into our blender, and we're going to blend everything until it's nice and smooth. So I'm gonna start transferring everything into our glass blender here, just little by little, until we are ready to blend. With all of our ingredients in our blender and capped off, I'm gonna go ahead and put mine to I'm just gonna kind of play with the settings until I can see inside that it's nice and smooth. But we got a lot of water, so that shouldn't be too tough. All right, with everything nice and smooth inside the blender, we're now gonna transfer back to our pan. Now, we are going to gradually add, while stirring, our juice of the lemon. And once that's nice and incorporated in there, our final ingredient, which is our heavy cream. All right, allow that to heat through, and then you're ready to serve.
Hey, you're back. Hey! How you doing?
How you doing?
I didn't really do much in this part except bring the cheese. I brought the cheese. The goat cheese looks great. This dish is very vegetable intense, and I'm interested to see what it.
Yeah, especially with that addition of the lemon juice at the end. I'm very curious to see what that does.
Compared to the book, looks pretty spot on, actually. So let's go ahead and try it out. You first. You're the one who likes vegetables.
That's true. Cut all the piece with the goat cheese there. Make sure you get some of that in there. All right.
That goat cheese tastes really good.
Yeah, the goat cheese is extraordinarily good. I would definitely recommend it as an add-on, because without the goat cheese, you do get a very pronounced lemon kick at the end, just as I kind of thought. It's still very creamy because of the heavy cream, but that lemon does some heavy lifting.
Yeah. It doesn't even really taste like vegetables at all. There's just that lingering, maybe like leek, celery, onion taste, but mostly pronounced is the lemon, and then the goat cheese right after it.
Yes. And there is one step that I will admit to omitting. It's dubious as to how much it would have had an effect on it. As everything started simmering with the potatoes and the chicken stock, I neglected to put in a bay leaf. But how much that would have affected the outcome, especially with the goat cheese and the lemon, pretty dubious.
Yeah, I'm not sure a bay leaf really would have done anything different to this, but I really feel like I need some bread. I definitely need...
Like a baguette.
Yeah, a baguette would be really, really good.
Go really well.
Or a knight's bread, which you can also find in the cookbook too as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so what would you give it, I would say?
Again, it's good. It is good. I think it's worth making. It's very good. It'd be great for someone who is sick to just get a whole lot of vegetables in you. But it's also pretty bland too, so it's not going to upset somebody's stomach that's already having issues. That being said, just as a dish on its own, I probably wouldn't make it outside of the bounds that I described earlier, so I'm going to give it probably a 6.5. It's nothing crazy to write home about, but it is good.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it needs to be complemented with something else, but I mean, that's great if it's like somebody who's sick, or maybe that's something you want to add a little bit extra salt and pepper, which I probably would do on mine.
Yeah.
Totally great. I think I could probably have this, maybe like a light salad, probably a light salad with it, some bread, and I think I'd be fine as maybe like an early lunch.
Yeah.
meal.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think that basically wraps up the episode.
That does it for the Cawl Cennin.
Yeah, thank you so much for cooking the entire meal.
Of course.
So guys, once again, thank you so much for coming on by and checking out another episode of Chefs of Anime. If you liked everything that you saw, you want to know how to make more dishes, go ahead, please press the red button in the bottom right-hand corner. And please make sure you tip us up with a like as well.
And if you want to know when our next videos are going to be coming out to the pass and get them in your notifications, go ahead and hit the bell.
Yeah, so otherwise, thank you guys so much for coming on by, and we'll see you in the next cooking video. We're Chefs of Anime. I'm Vince.
I'm Taylor.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.